Hey guys, it's time for me to talk about my top three shows of the week. And my third favorite show of the week this week was The Walking Dead. In my review of Sunday's episode, it wasn't necessarily my favorite episode, but I did enjoy some of the things that were happening within it. All the stuff that went down between Daryl and Beth, I actually really enjoyed. Them finding this, what seemed like a funeral home, and then, just having a couple of nice discussions amongst one another, and the fact that, Daryl even wanted to stay there and perhaps befriend the people who were living there before them when they came back. And, she looks at him and she says, oh, all of a sudden now you are feeling like there could be some people that we can trust out there. And she's like, why do you feel this way? And he just kind of gives her this look, and you can tell that he feels this way because of her. And as much as I still am not 100% like a fan of the two of them getting together, like if it does happen, I think I will just see how it plays out. And even in these few moments that they've had on screen together, I do feel that they have a connection. And if it turns into a romantic one, I don't know, we'll see how that plays out. It'll be very interesting. And like I said before, I'm sure Carol will have something to say about it. But yeah, and then when all that stuff happened with the zombies coming into the funeral home, and, Daryl literally just getting out barely alive was awesome. Seeing him like attack those zombies and then get trapped down in the basement with the dead bodies and using them as like a shield, like, oh, it was just so intense. And like, you never know with the show who could bite the dust. So as much as Daryl is a favorite, I think that if his time ever comes, wow, that is going to be a big loss on this show. So when he finally gets out of the house, he's looking for Beth, and she's all of a sudden you see this car go speeding off, and she's clearly not there. Her bag is on the ground. She's obviously in the car, and now Daryl is just running after her, and it's just a heartbreaking scene because they have been the two only that they think are alive right now out of their group from the jail, the prison, and him losing her is just another huge blow to him. And she really was the one who like picked him out of the depths of despair after the whole incident at the jail. So that was really heartbreaking to see him running after the car, and then even the next day still like with like his last breath running after Beth and trying to find her, and then just collapsing on the ground, and then of course meeting up with these bandits, these crazy dudes that we met back when Rick was camping out in that home and he was hiding from them under the bed. So we don't really know what they're all about, but we can assume that they're not good people. That's where I'm going with this. They're just not great. I mean, Daryl punches the guy in the face and he literally is like, ha ha ha, like laughing about it. And you're like, somebody's a little off of his rocker if that is his reaction. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens when we find out more about these guys. So the other stuff that was going on in this episode was with Sasha and Maggie and Bob. And it sort of felt like this was like, definitely them taking two steps forwards and then two steps back. And it was, them wanting to go. And they basically all just went off on their own. And I think the title of this episode was called Alone. And it was just everybody ended up at some point or another being alone in this episode. And Maggie took off on Bob and Sasha. And then, of course, Bob wanted to go after Maggie and Sasha didn't want to. She wanted to try to find shelter on a higher ground. And so everybody at one point was by themselves. But then at the end of it all, they reconnected. And Maggie like gutted some zombie and started leaving signs all over the place for, of course, Glenn, the love of her life, so that, if he does end up on those train tracks and he does end up in that direction, he will see signs that, one, Maggie is still alive, and where he can find her, which will be at Terminus, aka Sanctuary. So we still don't know what that is all about, but we know that at least Tyrese, Carol, and the two sisters and Judith are on their way there. We know that Rick, Carl, and Michonne are on their way there, and now we know that these three, Maggie, Bob, and Sasha, are on their way there. So Daryl is unfortunately probably going to be off with these bandits, and who knows where his fate will be. And of course, where Beth is, who knows. So that was my third favorite show of the week. My second favorite show of the week, it went to the originals, and I think it was a really good story to close out Claire Holtz's run on the originals. And I didn't know this going into watching the episode. So the whole time I'm watching this, thinking to myself, is Klaus really going to kill his sister? There's no way he's going to kill his sister. Like, there's just no way. And now knowing after the fact that he actually could have, would have been crazy. And I actually think that if he had stabbed his sister, then obviously this would have been, or not even if he had stabbed his sister, but if she had died in this episode, let's say by the hands of the witches, then this would have been another, I guess, plot, like storyline that this show could have gone off into. And obviously this would have reunited Marcel and Klaus and Elijah, all with the same goal into getting, retribution for Rebecca's death. But they didn't go that way. She gets to ride off with what is the most likeliest happy ending for Rebecca's character. Because, let's face it, this girl has, all she's wanted is to be with her family and to be loved and be in love. And, she's not going to be with her family and she's not going to be with the one that she loves, but she gets to live. And I guess that's the next best thing. So she gets to ride off after some very interesting scenes between both of her brothers, between Elijah and with Klaus. And one of the scenes that really, really resonated with me was when Rebecca was talking to Klaus, and she just basically said, for people like us who are immortal, who get to live the rest of our lives, it is like the biggest curse that we ever could have gotten, because they're never happy. Like, everything that could go bad goes bad, and it's like they will always, have this hanging over them where they can never really truly be happy. And it was a really sad scene to watch, because it really felt that was the truth. That was exactly how she feels. She feels like no matter what, she's going to be immortal. She's going to live for the rest of her life, but it's just going to be a life that is a sad life that she will have. And that's more than anything depressing. You know what I mean? Know that you get to live forever, but you're never going to be happy. That's just horrible. So some really great scenes between Elijah and Klaus, and of course Rebecca and Klaus and Elijah. And then we found out, well, not found out, but Marcel tried to do whatever he could to, save Davina, but it looks like now he has to give Davina back to the witches. And she's terrified of that, because she knows what could possibly happen, and it's not going to be good. So he has to give her back in order for the other witch to release the spell that was put on the cemetery where the Michelsons were all camped out. And, we'll see what is going to happen now. I did really enjoy this episode, and I enjoyed all of the in-depth scenes that happened between the Michelsons, Elijah, Rebecca, and Klaus. And we got some other really good flashbacks and just some more history into, why Klaus is the way he is. And he's just so damaged, and he's had a horrible childhood. And now, trust me, I am not a team Klaus person at all. But at least it gets to show you some more layers to that character, and I enjoy that. So my number one show of the week, of course, goes to Scandal, because this show is just so scandalous. And the fact that Jake was out there shooting people in the head at the end of this episode was crazy. He is the head of B613. He is command. He now knows exactly what all that entails. And off the top of the episode, he's speaking to someone, and he's just talking about, the life that you must have to be part of an organization like B613. You can't have family. You can't be close to anybody. You just have to be able to shed everything and not care about anyone. And at the end, when he goes and he kills the reporter, he kills the woman who works at the NSA, and then he's holding the gun on David Rosen and James. And then all of a sudden you see him, and he shoots the gun one more time, and you don't know who he shot. It's just crazy. I mean, come on, this show is just wow. And of course, we had all that craziness going on with Sally Langston. She looked like she was about to like keel over from just all the stress, and she wanted to confess all of her sins because she wants God to love her again, and she will do whatever she can to get that back. And of course, Fitz can't allow this to happen because if she exposes the truth, then that means that Cyrus and Melly could go down for the murder of Daniel Douglas, which is crazy. And then, once again, he's back on being, the president that is just everybody loses their trust in. So craziness going on there, of course. And of course, we had some hot and heavy scenes between Olivia and Jake. And then we had some stuff going down with Olivia and Fitz. And, her basically telling him, listen, I know we swore to each other that we were going to be honest and have a clean campaign, but this is the stuff that goes on behind the curtain. And it's ugly and it's dirty and it's horrible. And this is just what happens to try to keep you in power so that you don't have anything on your hands. And, of course, Fitz is like, crying and being a baby about it. And she finally says to him, listen, Vermont does not exist. It is not a reality for the two of us. This moment is all we have. So we can't think that one day we're going to end up in Vermont and I'm going to be making jam. It's just, we can't go there. This is all we have. And let's just be in this moment. And then they kiss and of course, blah, 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 blah. So once again, Jake gets the shaft. I mean, he is her beard, but halfway through the episode, she was like, seduce me, take me to bed. And it's just like, oh my God, this yo-yo back and forth between the two of them is just enough. And so we had no mention of Mama Pope in this episode. We had a little bit of Papa Pope, but, he's clearly trying to back Sally Langston, and it'll be interesting to see what more damage he tries to do to Fitz to get him out of office. Craziness. And of course, like, what Tom almost taking a shot at Sally, like, oh my God, this show, sometimes I'm just like, I don't even know what happens in that writing room when they come up with these crazy ideas. And I love it because it just makes the show so intense and you just have no idea where it's going to go. So that's always good. And Quinn was doing her little Spidey game stuff. She's back into the fold. She's working at B613 and she's breaking into Olivia's office and she's cracking into safes and she's getting information and intel and clearly giving it to the wrong person because Mr. Jake is off shooting at people by the end of the episode, and that is just not a good look on him. Although it kind of was. It was kind of a good look. But we'll see what is going to happen when next week's episode goes down. I can't wait. Let me know what your top 3 shows of the week were. And yeah, I mean, I have so much stuff on my PVR that I still have to watch. Like, I'm enjoying a lot of shows. I'm watching Suits. I'm watching Dallas. I watch like Twisted. I'm watching House of Cards, True Detective. Like, I'm just watching so many things. But because I don't review them all the time, like, I'm just not putting that out there for shows that are my top 3 shows. And I'm kind of behind. Like, I'm only on 2 episodes of True Detective, so don't spoil anything for me. I'm watching Banshee, which is awesome, but I think I still have like 2 episodes left of that to watch. Don't spoil that for me. I just so much that I'm watching, but like I'm trying to get through it all. It's just impossible. So anyways, let me know what your top 3 shows are and leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.